90. Masters and lions, teachers and pupils, all return to the One. Thieves and the Tao, snares and Buddhism, quiet ninefold noumena. We were telling you about the great sage Sun, who went out of the city with 8 rules, and Sha Monk. When they met the monster spirits face to face, they found them to be a bunch of lions of various colors. Yellow Lion Spirit led in front, with Xuanyi Lion and Elephant Bader on his left, Beige Lion and Wildcat on his right, and Gibbon Lion and Snow Lion at the back. In the middle of the group was a 9-headed lion, and by his side was the fiend, Child Blue Face, holding a brocade pennant with raised floral patterns. Child Shifty and Freaky and Child Freaky and Shifty held high 2 red banners as they all stood in an orderly fashion to the north. 8 rules, always foolhardy, walked up to them and began to abuse them, saying, "You larcenous fiend! Where did you go to collect these several hairy lumps to come here? You lawless and vicious Bonzi!" cried the Yellow Lion Spirit, baring his teeth. "Yesterday 3 of you attacked one of me, and I was defeated. Wasn't that enough that you had the upper hand? Why did you have to be so cruel as to burn down my cave dwelling, ruin my mountain home, and harm all my relatives? My animosity toward you is deep as the sea. Don't run away. Have a taste of your venerable father's shovel. Dear 8 rules." He met the lion with upraised rake. The 2 of them had just come together, and no decision could yet be reached when the Gibbon Lion, wielding an iron caltrop, and the Snow Lion Spirit, using a 3-cornered club, also advanced to attack. "Welcome!" shouted 8 rules, and on his side, Sha Monk quickly took out his fiend-rooting staff to lend his assistance. Then Xuanyi Spirit, Beige Spirit, Elephant Bader, and Wildcat all surged forward, and they were met by the great sage Sun grasping his golden-hooped rod. Xuanyi used a cudgel, Beige a bronze mallet, Elephant Bader a steel lance, and Wildcat a battle axe. Those 7 lion spirits and these 3 savage priests thus had quite a battle. Mallet, cudgel, lance, and 3-cornered club. 4 lights shovel, iron caltrop, and an axe. 7 lions with 7 weapons sharp. Encircle 3 priests as they roar and shout. Vicious is the great sage's iron rod. And rare among men, Sha Monk's treasure staff. 8 rules, as if plague-ridden, sallies forth. With a radiant muckrake that terrifies. Back and front they parry as they ply their might. Left and right they charge for their fearless all. Princes on the rampart now lend their strength. By beating gongs and drums to rouse their hearts. Pressing back and forth they use magic power. And fight till heaven and earth grow obscure. Those monster spirits fought for half a day with the great sage and his 2 companions, and it became late. 8 rules was foaming at the mouth, and his legs were gradually weakening. With a last half-hearted wave of his rake, he turned to flee. "Where are you off to? Watch out!" cried Snow Lion and Gibbon Lion. Our idiot did not dodge quickly enough and received a blow to his spine from the club. As he lay flat on the ground, all he could mumble was, "Finished! Finished!" Seizing him by the bristles and the tail, the 2 spirits hauled 8 rules away to show him to the 9-headed lion, saying, "Grandmaster, we've caught one." They had hardly finished speaking when Sha Monk and Pilgrim, too, were defeated. As the various monster spirits gave chase together, however, Pilgrim pulled off a bunch of hairs, chewed them to pieces, and spat them out, crying, "Change!" They changed at once to hundreds of little pilgrims who had Beige, Xuanyi, Elephant Bader, Wildcat, and the golden-haired lion fiend completely surrounded. Sha Monk and Pilgrim then returned and also plunged into the fray. When night fell, they captured Xuanyi and Beige, though Wildcat, Elephant Bader, and Goldenhair managed to escape. When the old fiend learned from his grandsons that 2 lions were lost, he gave this instruction. "Tie up Zhu 8 rules, but don't take his life. Wait till they return our 2 lions, and we'll give 8 rules back to them. If they're foolish enough to harm our 2 lions, we'll make 8 rules pay with his life." That night the various monsters rested outside the city, and there we shall leave them for the moment. We tell you now about the great sage Sun, who had the two lion spirits hauled near the city. When the old prince saw them, he ordered the city gates open and sent out some 30 guards with ropes to truss up the lion spirits and take them inside. After he had retrieved his magic hairs, the great sage Sun went with Sha Monk up to the city tower to see the Tang monk. That was quite a fierce battle. Said the Tang monk. You think Wu Neng will live? Relax. Replied Pilgrim. Since we've caught these two monster spirits, they will never dare harm him. Let's have these two spirits firmly bound, so that they may be exchanged for 8 rules tomorrow. Kowtowing to Pilgrim, the 3 young princes said, When our master first went into battle, we saw only one of you. But when you feigned defeat later, over 100 of you suddenly appeared. By the time you had the monster spirits captured and returned to the side of the city, you became a single person once more. What sort of magic was that? On my body. Replied Pilgrim with a chuckle. There are 84,000 hairs. One of them can change into 10 of me, and the 10 can also change into 100. In fact, the transformation can grow to millions and billions. This is the magic of the body beyond the body. One after another, the princes touched their heads to the ground to show their reverence, after which, food was brought up to the tower for them to dine right there. At each crenel on the battlement were set up lanterns and flags, watch rattles, gongs, and drums. The soldiers were told to be diligent in announcing the watches, sending communication arrows, firing cannons, and shouting battle cries. Soon it was dawn. The old fiend summoned the yellow lion spirit into his presence to give him this plan. All of you today should exert yourselves and try to capture Pilgrim and Sha Monk. Let me secretly soar through the air to ascend the city and seize their master along with the old prince and his sons. After that, I'll go back first to the 9 Bends Curvate Cave to wait for your triumphal return. Accepting the plan, Yellow Lion led Gibbon Lion, Snow Lion, Elephant Baiter, and Wildcat, each grasping his weapon, and approached the city to provoke battle, in the midst of churning wind and roiling mist. On this side Pilgrim and Sha Monk leapt down from the parapet and shouted, Lawless fiends! Return our brother 8 rules quickly, and we'll spare your lives. Otherwise, we'll pulverize you. Those monster spirits, of course, did not permit further conversation. As they rushed forward, our great sage and his companion both exercised their intelligence to oppose those 5 lions. This battle was quite different from that of yesterday. A vicious, howling wind that scrubs the earth. A dark, heavy fog that blots out the sky. Flying dirt and stone dismay ghosts and gods. Toppling trees and woods alarm tigers and wolves. The lance is cruel, the axe luminous. Caltrop, club, and shovel are all ruthless. How they wish they could swallow Pilgrim whole. Or capture alive that puny Sha Monk. This one compliant rod of our great sage can thrust, turn, toss, and twist most cleverly. That fiend rooting staff of bold Sha Monk has great fame beyond the divine mists hall. Their action this time has great magic powers to sweep away the spirits of the west. When that battle between those 5 lion spirits with coats of more than one color and Sha Monk and Pilgrim reached its most feverish moment, the old fiend mounted a dark cloud to ascend the city tower. All he had to do was to give his heads a shake, and those on the rampart, the various officials and the guards, became so terrified that they all tumbled down from the battlement. He sped inside the tower, and with wide-open mouths, caught hold of Tripitaka, the old prince, and his sons. He then went back to the spot at the north and seized 8 rules with another mouth. He had, you see, altogether 9 heads, and he therefore had 9 mouths. One mouth held the Tang monk, the second one 8 rules, the third one the old prince, the fourth one the eldest young prince, the fifth one the second young prince, and the sixth one the third young prince. With 6 persons in 6 mouths, he still had 3 empty ones. I'm leaving first. He roared. When these 5 young lion spirits saw the triumph of their Grand Master, they became more aggressive than ever. Pilgrim, too, heard the commotion on the rampart, and he knew at once that he had fallen for their scheme. Quickly admonishing Shamunk to be careful, he ripped off all his hairs from both arms and chewed them to pieces before spitting them out. They changed instantly into hundreds and thousands of little pilgrims. As they surged forward to attack, they dragged down the gibbon lion, captured live snow lion, caught hold of elephant baiter, overturned wildcat, and beat to death yellow lion. From this wild melee, however, Child Blueface, Shifty and Freaky and Shifty managed to escape. When the officials on the rampart saw what was happening, they opened the city gates once more and brought out ropes to tie up the 5 lion spirits. After they had been dragged inside, and before they had even been disposed of, a tearful queen came to bow to Pilgrim, saying, "Oh, divine master! Our royal highness, his sons, and your master may have lost their lives. What is to become of this deserted city? Worthy queen, please do not grieve," said the great sage, bowing to her as he retrieved his magic hairs. "Because I have caught these 7 lion spirits, I don't think that my master or his highness and his heirs will be harmed, even though they have been abducted by the magic of the old monster."